Okay, good morning. If you're watching us on YouTube this morning, so schools that are watching us on YouTube, good morning to everybody at Talkie Girls Grammar School this morning. We're nearly ready to go. I can see we've got a full house there ready at Talkie Girls Grammar, and I see the numbers are just coming up for YouTube as well. So if you are watching us all, a little bit before we begin, that's about playing it safe in the kitchen. So as always, little disclaimer to start with, please make sure that if you're cooking along with me today, it is safe to do so, you have permission to do so, and you have a grown-up at hand to lend a hand. Okay, so somebody to supervise and take responsibility for you there, because there are intrinsic risks involved in a kitchen, and we are going to be using sharp knives and we will be using hot devices. So again, please make sure it's safe to cook, please make sure you've got permission to cook, and please make sure you have a grown-up at hand to lend a hand. Fabulous. Good. So if you've got any more bits, there's some more disclaimers there on the YouTube as well at the bottom there if you want to have a look. Now, talking about YouTube and Teams, if you want to contact me throughout today's double lesson, you are more than welcome to. If you're on Teams, just leave the messages down the side there on the Teams chat. That would be fabulous. If you're on YouTube, then if you just want to leave your comments along the bottom there, and again, to both of those, we will reply and we'll have a bit of competition and see who's going to be fastest off the block, YouTube or the other schools are watching us on YouTube, or Talkie Girls Grammar who are watching us through Teams today. So we're simultaneously broadcasting. Now, also, we are recording both. So if you are at school and you're watching this back, or you need to watch it back, you can do it. It's recorded on there. If you're on YouTube, obviously, straight after this, it will be uploaded and be recorded. It's being recorded at the same time as well. Fabulous. Great to have you all with me this morning. We're going to get ready to start to cook. And what we're doing today is we are making a gnocchi cheese and tomato pasta bake. So hopefully you've got the recipe there close to hand. I will be going through the recipe anyway, step by step, every step, all the way along, with all the ingredients, all the equipment, and everything you need to do with you as we cook along live together as part of today's cook along show. Today's lesson for you. So we've got that on the board, and that'll be going. If you've got a school, you've got the recipe already sent to you. If you're on YouTube, hopefully you've managed to pick that up through social media, the recipe for yourselves as well. But like I say, we'll be going through that step by step for yourselves. If you want any shout outs, then please leave a message again on comments and I'll do a shout out to you. As always, I'm going to do a big shout out to all of those who are at school today, and the wonderful teaching assistants that are helping you at school today, and teachers who are looking after you if you're parents or key workers and you are maybe in the school today. So big shout out to all of you. But if you have any more shout outs, please put a message out and I will happily do that one to you today. Right, let's get going. We're making a gnocchi. We're making a type of pasta. It's a potato pasta. We're looking at your skills today and something called food provenance. What does food provenance mean? Well, I'll tell you a little bit more about that. And what we'll also do, let's go through the learning objectives for today. Let's go through and see what we are going to be learning today. So on the board here, you will see the learning objectives for today. The learning objectives for today are these. Just move the camera around so you can see there, and you can just see a little bit better there. So learning objectives today, we're going to be making a basic pasta this morning. We're going to be making a basic potato pasta, which is what we call a gnocchi. You're going to be demonstrating basic knife skills. So we'll go through and recap some of your knife skills and how to chop and slice. You're going to be using the cooker safely. So we're going to be using a hob quite a bit today. So we'll be using the hob and cooker. And you're going to be understanding this word food provenance, so what it means, what it's all about. So you're going to be doing that today as well. Okay, so before we begin, as with all of these cases, we need to actually look at getting ourselves ready, getting our areas ready, and getting all of our ingredients and equipment ready. And I'm going to talk you through all of that. And I'm also going to talk you through some alternatives that you might need for each of the ingredients if you weren't able to get hold of everything. And we are in a lockdown larder situation still, so you might not be able to get hold of everything, or you might have certain allergies or intolerances for any foodstuffs, or certain foodstuffs you cannot eat for any religious, ethical, or moral reasons. That's fine. I will go through some alternatives that you can have in place so you can still make a wonderful bake today and you can still cook. And we want everyone to be cooking. All right, so let's get through getting ourselves ready. And what does that involve? What does it involve getting ready? Well, it's down to the thing that we go through every time when we are cooking, whether you're in year 7 or whether you're in year 11. And that is getting ourselves ready. And that is what we call mise en place, or that's it. We've already got it. Hattie, well done. Talkie Girls Grammar beat me to it this morning. That is it. We need to be looking at Hattie. So what is Hattie? Let's go through Hattie, and we're going to go through that quickly because I can see that you're biting at the bit to get ready to cooking this morning. So here we go. Hattie, here we go. So Hattie is on the board here. For those of you who do YouTube don't know what that means, let's run you through. And for everybody at home, let's talk about what Hattie is and what it involves. That's it. Oh, look, they're straight on the ball this morning. Well done, class. You are on it. We're all over this today. So let's say getting yourself ready, getting your area ready, getting your equipment ready. That's what we need to do so that we are thinking about hygiene before we start to cook. And that's really important so we don't get any cross-contamination. We do not want any nasties in our food. So we're going to remember this word, Hattie. So let's go through what it involves. I'm already seeing the notes ping up here, which is great, about what Hattie is. You are consolidating your learning really well today. So let's go through and find out, for all of those that didn't know, or a reminder for those that did, what does Hattie stand for? Well, very simply, let me see if I show up on the board there. There we go. You can see it up on the board there, hopefully, as well. There we go. Yes, you can. So H stands for, that's right, straight in there this morning. It's for your hair and your hands. Okay, so we're looking at hair and hands. And what we're going to be doing with that. Well, if you've got longer hair, not like me, but if you've got longer hair, then you need to make sure that that hair is tied back. Okay, so if you've got longer than short hair, that is, you need it tied back. So maybe a hairband, that's right. A hairband would be perfect. Or you could wear a hat, hairbands, hats, for your hair, all those H's. And then we need to think about these things, our hands. So we need to make sure that we have washed our hands absolutely properly. Obviously, really important in the times that we're in at the moment, crazy times we're in at the moment, but always when we're cooking, it's really important from make sure we say we've got no nasties into our food. We want to make sure there's no contaminants in our food. At any point, we need to make sure our hands are clean, and we'll go through those step by step, and we'll literally do everything together with you. A is indeed for apron. Well done. Look at this. They're already listing them all down there on the side there in the chat. I'm really impressed with everybody here. You're doing a brilliant job at home here. I hope you're not having any helps from those grown-ups. I hope the grown-ups are just watching. A is indeed for an apron. Here it is. I've got my nice clean apron ready to go there, and hopefully you've got your apron ready to go as well. So once we've washed our hands. T is for a tray, a really useful device to get the next two on, which is I for ingredients and E for equipment. Now, the eagle eyes of you have noticed that we're using a package called Hodder Education today. That's the package that we use to for all our slides in school, our educational package that we use there. It's a fantastic one, so thank you to Hodder Education for that wonderful package. Okay, so Hattie. So let's do this one together. We are going to go and get ourselves ready together. We're going to be going through this one, all of us together, and I'm going to do step by step. So let's start with the first one. An H for hands. So let's get our hands washed. I'm going to literally just turn my camera around to the kitchen. Here we go. We're gonna hop, skip, and a jump over around the kitchen here. Let me turn that camera around there to my kitchen this morning. And there we are. There's my kitchen sink. And then we're going to turn that one around as well this morning to my kitchen sink there. There we go. Fabulous. Right. Let's all go. In fact, I'm going to take YouTube. If you're on YouTube, you're going to come with me. I'm going to take you with me. Here we go. Let's literally come with me. This one's a movable camera. Okay, so I'm coming over to the kitchen sink here. And we need to make sure that we have washed our hands properly. So roll up those sleeves, if you wouldn't mind. Let's get those all washed, rolled up. Oh, where are we going there? Is that a bit light? Can you not see me there? Okay, that's fine. We can move that one a little bit over. There we go. Hopefully now you can see me a bit better. There we go. Yeah, quick message. I couldn't see me over there. Now you can see me. So we have got our sleeves rolled up. There we go. Sleeves rolled up. And now we need to get our hands washed. So you're going to need some soap. Soapy soap. So get some nice hand wash soap on you. And we need to wash our hands properly. So rubbing your hands together, do the back of those hands between those fingers. Let's get right between them, right there. Don't forget those thumbs, go round those thumbs. Don't forget the wrists, Look at that, properly lathered up. Now we need some hot soapy water. Rub our hands together again. We need to do the back of our hands, between those fingers. We need to do those thumbs. There we go. We need the back of the wrists. Always people forget the wrists. There we go. All properly washed. There we go. Hands washed and clean. And we just quickly dry those off on a towel now. And then I'm going to use the hand gel as well. We're going to be properly doing that one. Here we go. Coming back to me. There we go. Hand gel as well. Look at this. We're getting through this one so quickly to say we all know exactly what you're doing. There we go. So hands washed. Fabulous. I have also put my hand gel on. There we go. You can see me now. Back to me. Hand gel on. I am nice and cleanly hands ready to go. Can you see me there? Fabulous. Okay. Brilliant, you can. Now, next thing we need to do, we need to work on our aids. So now I've got not just an apron this morning, I'll be wearing my chef whites as well. So I'm going to put all of these protective clothing over me, and you're going to hopefully be doing exactly the same thing while I'm doing this one together. Let's turn that one back in the right way around. So get your aprons on as well, if you wouldn't mind. Now, so I know this seems a bit weird to be wearing your apron inside the kitchen. It might seem weird to be wearing a hairband inside the kitchen. And I get that. It's a bit strange. But we are in class, and we want to make sure that we're doing things absolutely properly, okay? So that is why we are going to do, as we would do in the class, we would get all of our nice clean aprons on as well. Now, we have some questions coming in while I get my Chef White's jacket on, my Chef White's jacket on there, and I get my apron on. We have some questions coming in. Let's have a look. Can we use herbs instead of basil? Yes. Now, I'm going to show you some examples here. I'm going to use some basil. I'm also going to use some spinach. So you can use basil, spinach. You can use dried herbs. If you want to with this one, they will work nicely. I mean, if you've only got dried parsley or that sort of thing, that's going to work. We're going to go through all those ingredients together. So yes, the answer is yes, you can use herbs. Maybe some Provençal herbs, some mixed Italian seasoning herbs, some mixed French herbs, all those sort of things. Yeah, I can see a hand up there. So let's write that in the, oh, my apron's all around. Write that one in the chat if you wouldn't mind, if you have a little issue there. Okay, so my apron is now on as well. Now there's eagle eyes again. You might be noticing what's that on this apron there. It's Food Teacher Centre. That's the Association of Food Teachers and Foreign Food Teachers across the country. That's what I'm wearing today on my apron. I wonder what you've got on your aprons this morning as well. Let's have a wonder. What's everyone got on their aprons this morning? Anything exciting aprons? Have we got colourful aprons this morning? Get your aprons on. That is the A there. So done your hair, you've done your hands. We're now going to look, we've done the aprons on there. We're now going to get on to the next thing, which is a tray with ingredients and equipment on. And I'm going to go through each of those ingredients through with you. I'm going to look at the alternatives in case you can't have certain ingredients for any allergies or intolerances or anything you cannot eat because of maybe religious, ethical or other reasons that you cannot eat it. So we're going to go through all of those ingredients now. Or maybe you just haven't got them because we're in a lockdown model situation at home in our own kitchens, as I am now, rather than in the classroom. So let's go through all of those now with you. We'll start with the ingredients and then we'll go into the equipment with you. Okay, and then you can lay all this out in front of you like I've got this all laid out ready for me, and that is our preparation time. That's our preparation time called mise en place. That's putting everything into place. It literally comes from the French to put in place. And that's what we're doing today. We're going to be getting that all ready before we start to cook. Okay, so before we start to make our pasta bake. Right, let's get some of these ingredients together. We are going to go, let's get the ingredients slide up for you. There we go. Alrighty. So the ingredients slide, let me get some of these ingredients as well while I'm here. Let's get some of those ingredients up for you and let's get those ready to go. Okay. So we've got a few different ingredients. Ready? And we're just going to get those ingredients out for you now. Here we go. Oh, just running around, grabbing a few that I had on the side. I'm trying to find where that basil is. I've got it somewhere. I'll get it out for you in a moment. Right, so the first ingredient, it says there are 1 tin of new potatoes. Now, we're looking at food provenance. That was one of the words I said right at the beginning. So what does food provenance mean? Anyone have a guess there on the side there? Anyone write it in the chat? Who's going to be quickest on the chat there? Food provenance. What does food provenance or food provenance mean? What's it all about? It's a long word. We write it on the board as well, so you know how to spell it. It's a weird one to spell. Let me talk about this one. Food provenance. Provenance. There it is. It's food provenance. A weird long word. Let me just show you on the board there. There we go. So food provenance is all about where your food comes from. And we're looking at where your food comes from. We're looking at how it gets to your plate. All the processing, production, seasonality, looking at it. Here we are. Food provenance means knowing where your food was grown, caught or reared, knowing how food was produced, knowing how food was transported. Look at that. Well done. What a great explanation that is online there. Someone just come in with an explanation. And it is. So it covers things like that. We need to look at when food is ready to come to us. And we need to reduce the amount of food miles. So that's how far food travels to get to our plates. And then in turn that we're looking at the environment and how good things are for the environment when we look at food provenance and all that journey to our plate. So why are we talking about it today? Because at the moment, what's a good seasonal food? Potatoes. Potatoes are a good one. So we are going to be looking at these things. Root vegetables. Root vegetables are kind of in at the moment. Parsnips, potatoes. It's the winter. It's cold. It's very cold out there. I don't know if you've had any snow. We've not had any snow yet, but hopefully we'll have some snow soon. But food provenance is all about the potatoes. Now, we've got some questions already come in here and says, can we use normal sized potatoes instead of new potatoes? Yes. So we've got some potatoes here, and we're going to use both today. We're going to use, so you can show you these ones. If you haven't got a can of new potatoes, there we go, let's just have a look. I have my list already open, my can of new potatoes. So we're going to use a can of new potatoes if you've got a can of new potatoes. But if you haven't got a can of new potatoes, we have got some fresh potatoes. So you can use fresh potatoes. And in fact, I'm going to show you a quite crazy looking potato, which I found at the farm last week that I thought would be really fun for this recipe. And that is one of these potatoes. Here we go. These, bought especially for you lot today. These potatoes. Now these potatoes look almost black. But when we cut these open, you're going to see these are pretty crazy. These are purple potatoes. That's right, purple potatoes. So we're going to have a whole look at different potatoes today. So don't worry if you've not got tin potatoes. I'm going to show you with fresh potatoes and tin potatoes today. And you are going to have a look at these guys. Purple potatoes. I know it seems weird and wonderful. You wait till we start cutting these open and you get that beautiful deep red purpley pink color. It's wonderful. Anyway, don't laugh, it's fun. Let's have a look. My dad works for a veg company. We can get lots of local food. That is really good. That means you're really thinking about food provenance. You're thinking about where your food comes from, how it's been grown. You're knowing about how the food was produced. Well done. My new potatoes came from Belgium. Okay, so now you might not be able to get potatoes right now. You might not be able to get hold of fresh potatoes right now. So thinking about where those potatoes come from is really interesting. So actually looking at it and then that questioning yourself, you should start to question where your food comes from. Let's have a look where my new potatoes have come from. My new potatoes have come from, does it say on there? It says the supermarket. Is it going to say where those ones have come from? No, it doesn't say where those ones have come from. I know that these ones have come from the farm. But we need to think about where things are coming from. Mine have come from a farm near my house. Excellent, good, liked it. Food. So lots of interesting things. This is why we're bringing the food provenance. We look at things that are seasonal. And seasonal means that not only is it fresh, it's travelled less, it means less food miles, it means better for the environment. So there's lots of good reasons why we should be buying local and buying seasonal as well, which is all part of this food provenance. Potatoes, as I say, like lots of root vegetables, are kind of in at the moment. You'll find a lot of those. Carrots as well. You just you'll find a lot of carrots, potatoes, and you'll find it actually cheaper as well, because obviously they're in at the moment. If you're getting your online orders to your home during lockdown, you'll find they're slightly cheaper carrots and potatoes at the moment. Right. Let's move on. Let's get on to the next ingredient. So the next ingredient up there, let's move on there. As you'll see, let's move on over there, is as well as potatoes. You can use new potatoes, fresh new potatoes, whatever you fancy on there. I'm going to show you with all of those. You need 100 grams of plain flour. So I have got here my plain flour. So we're going to be using 100 grams of plain flour. Now, we're making a pasta. So if you've got pasta flour, that's absolutely brilliant. That would work really, really well. But we're in a lockdown larder situation, and getting hold of that specialist flour is a nightmare. So I haven't got any, and I won't be using any today. I'm just going to use plain flour today. But if you could get hold of, if you've got a little old bag of pasta flour at the back of your cupboards, go and get that one out. You could also use, actually, instead of a pasta flour, you could just use a bread flour. That's also really strong bread flour. That would be really useful as well, because that's got a lot of stuff in it that's going to help us make very stretchy, long pasta. And that stuff that we're going to make, we'll come to in a minute, is going to be elastic like a balloon. If anyone can remember about bread making before, you might remember what this stuff is that we're going to make that's very, very stretchy with our flour. When we get flour wet, we'll come to it a bit later. Okay, so so if you've got flour-wise, that's it. They're already coming in. It's the gluten one. We'll talk about gluten again. So if you've got strong bread flour, if you've got pasta flour, brilliant. If you haven't, just stick with the old plain flour. This will work, and we're going to be showing you that one today. Now, you might be celiac. You might be able to not have gluten in your diet, in which case, you can, as we said before, you can feel free to use a free-from flour, which is free from gluten. That would work as well with this one. But you are going to need to, as I always say with these ones, I would add some extra xanthan gum into that one if you're doing a free-from flour, because that'll add a little bit more protein in there for you as we're going along and help with the bake. Okay, so we've got the flour. Eggs, we've talked about eggs before, but we've got some fresh eggs here, so you can be using some fresh eggs. But you can use an egg alternative if you wish to go looking at vegan side of things. You can look at some of this stuff again. It's aquafaba. It is a egg alternative, which will work just as well. It's made from the water of chickpeas. So if you haven't got egg and you haven't got this, and you need to still get something, an old can of chickpeas in the cupboard, open that up, use the water that's inside it, and you can use that as an alternative to eggs. In fact, you can make meringues from chickpea water, whipped up chickpea water. So it works very similar to eggs in that respect. As an alternative, it works really well. So alternatives there, eggs, onions. So we've got onions, some fresh onions. But if you haven't got fresh onions and you've only got frozen chopped onions, we'll go with what you've got in your larder at the moment. Okay, so we have onions. Along with onions, we've also got one of the same family as the onion. We have the garlic. And again, if you haven't got fresh garlic, we can make do with chopped garlic, chopped frozen garlic. You could even use a garlic paste in this one if you wanted to, but ideally you'll have fresh garlic as well. Okay, so we've got garlic, onions there going on. A pepper. Ooh, yes, peppers. We've got peppers as well. So we're going to be using some peppers today. Reds and greens. We're looking at international foods here. We're looking at a gnocchi is a pasta. Pasta is an international food. It's a cuisine of a particular country. That country is... What? Where do we get it? Italy, of course. And what's the colour of the Italian flag? What's the colour? Colours of the Italian flag? They're coming in there, I can see. What are the colours of the Italian flag? Red, white and green, that's it. So we're going to put a lot of those colours into our bake today as well. Now, basil, that's what I was trying to find. Where is... basil. It's on the windowsill. If any of you were keen when I was washing my hands, you may have seen that one. I'm going to go and grab my basil plant. That's where it was. I knew it. I knew I had it somewhere. Let me grab my basil. I love basil. Basil is like my favourite plant. Here we go. Oh, I've been using a lot of it this week. I need to get some more. Basil. We're going to use a little bit of basil into this one. Now, if you haven't got basil, you could use some spinach. I've got some spinach there as well. Spinach will be fine. We're going to be using a little bit. You can use some spinach. We might use both. You can use some dried herbs. You can use some. We're looking at green herbs here. You could put parsley in it. You could put Italian herbs in this to it. Italian seasoned herbs. There's mixed Italian herbs. You could do mixed French herbs, Provençal herbs into this one. What you've got to hand, okay? Right, good. Got lots of things going on there. Right, next one, finally cheese. So we can use a dairy cheese again. Dairy cheese there. Or if you haven't got a dairy cheese, you can use a dairy alternative. There we are. We have a dairy block alternative there if you don't want to use a dairy cheese. Right, it started snowing in my garden. Hey! Congratulations! It's not snowing here. It hasn't snowed here for 3 years, but good for you that it's snowing at home. Right, let's. Are we going to see it? Are you going to show us the camera that it's snowing? You don't have to unmute. You can keep it muted if you want to show us a picture on your camera of it snowing there, so we can see. Can you see it? Okay. Love the cheese. Love the cheese. It's snowing there. Well, I can't see it snowing. You're going to have to show me. I don't believe you. Right, now let's go on to equipment there. Let's go on to equipment and we'll look at all the different equipment that you need to have in the kitchen for today. Right, so equipment today. Quite a bit of equipment before we start to cook today. Quite a bit you need to have up there. So I'm going to go through all of it just here. Here is the equipment. It's snowing outside school. Right, so it's actually snowing at Torquay Girls Grammar School right now. There we go. For those that are at the school, it's actually snowing at school. Fabulous. Well done to you girls at school this morning. Right, so here we have the equipment. We need a saucepan. So my saucepan is already set up on the hob top, which we're going to be talking about cooking over there. And when we get to the hob, a frying pan. My frying pan is also over there. So we'll go back over and see that in a minute. So saucepan, frying pan, a wooden spoon. You're going to need some wooden spoons. Mine are already over there. And this wooden spatula. Mine's over there, as you can probably see here. All right, sausage straining spoon. So we need something like one of these, which we can use to strain and pick out our potatoes when we've cooked them. So something we don't want to put in your hands in. It's gonna hurt. So get one of those sorts of spoons. You're going to need some kitchen towel. Oh yeah. So you're going to need a little bit of kitchen towel today to dry off our potatoes and get all the liquid out of those. So you're going to need some kitchen towel. You're going to need some forks. Yes, forks. Here we go. We are going to need some cheese grater, of course, because we're looking to put some cheese in there. Where's my cheese grater? There it is. Here we go. Cheese grater, there it is. So we need a cheese grater today. We're going to need some sharp knives. So I've got a sharp paring knife this morning, ready to go. We're going to need a chopping board, which is fine. I've got that one. We're going to need a potato ricer masher or something similar. Potato masher. Okay, so I've got a potato masher ready to go. And then finally, a baking dish. A baking dish. You might do a smaller one like this, so you're going to fill it right to the top. Or you could do a shallower one, shallow bake, and do it as a larger dish as well. It's entirely up to you on there. So we're going to be doing that one. But we also need stuff in and out of the oven. So other things you might need at hand, some oven gloves. Okay, so getting stuff in and out of the oven today. Brilliant. Hopefully now your area is prepped, you're prepped, you've got all the equipment and all the ingredients now laid out and ready to go. I'm now going to go through the recipe and we're going to cook together. So let's do that very thing right now. So let's get the recipe up on the board for you so you can all see that and follow that through step by step. Picture step by step. As always, it's nice and easy to follow because we've got nice and easy pictures for everything. We're going to start with the potatoes. We need to boil and simmer those potatoes for 5 minutes. Now, I know that it says on my can of potatoes here, not to boil. Okay, don't boil these ones. I want you to boil them. Okay, now that's 5 minutes for the new potatoes, or if we're using fresh potatoes, you're going to need to do those for about 15 minutes. So let's go get those on the boil before we start doing anything else this morning. Okay, I'm just going to move the camera down so you can see what we're up to here. So I'm just going to move my cameras right the way around the kitchen there. Let's move that around so you can see, and I'm going to zoom in so you can see what we're up to there. Fabulous. I'm going to do the same with the other camera now. I'm a dancing potato. Well, I'm glad to know that you're a dancing potato. There we go. And hopefully you can say we can see that one. I'm just going to move the camera around and then I'll move the light around so you can see what I'm up to. I'm going to get these ones into a can. This light is very light this morning, so I'm going to move that light around so you can see what I am up to today. Let's move that one over there. Okay. So I've got my potatoes and I'm going to now get those potatoes into a pan. Here we are over at my hob. So I've got my fresh potatoes. I'm going to be doing this at the same time. I've got my fresh potatoes. I'm going to be putting into a pan here. So if you're using fresh potatoes, that's great. I'm just actually literally going to boil a bit of water straight away with the kettle over there, which I'm going to put into that one. This one, I don't need to worry about. This is my new potatoes. I'm literally going to pour those new potatoes straight into the pan there. There we go. New potatoes in there. They've already got their own water. Going to put them in the hob, over the hob. New potatoes in with their water into the pan there, onto the hob. The fresh potatoes, I'll put them into a larger pan. They don't have any water, so I'm going to put a little bit of boiling water in with them so they're covered. So that's what's going on over there. I'm just going to get that kettle. I'm going to cover those potatoes. These fresh potatoes are going to be for 15 minutes. These new potatoes, if you're using new potatoes, we're going to be putting those in for just 5 minutes. Okay, so let me cover the fresh potatoes. With some boiling water. And the new potatoes. Let's move those ones around. Potatoes there. New potatoes there. Okay, now we want to try and be environmentally friendly here, reduce our energy consumption. So I'm going to be putting some tin lids on top of my tins. Okay, what's stainless steel? So put some lids on these. Let's get another lid in there. That's not good for that one, but we'll put it in there anyway. Okay, we're going to leave those ones with a bit of timer on there. So we've got 5 minutes, and then we'll do 15 minutes for the other one. Good, the timer is on. Let's come back to me. Hello there again. All right, back to me. So we've got 2 things on the go there, depending on which sort of potato you've used. You might have used a new potato, you might have used fresh potatoes, but they are now on the boil and we're ready to go. A very cute dog, thank you. Yes, I would show her up, but my hands are clean. I'll tell you what, when we finish baking, I'll get my dog up and you can see my little dog here, little dog Rosie, who's in the kitchen with me today. But food hygiene, we'll keep it down there at the moment. Right, okay. So we've now got those on the boil, the simmer. Okay, so it says here, cover the potatoes with water, boil and simmer for 5 minutes. So that's what we're doing. Sorry, the camera just moved there. She's Rosie's down there underneath the camera there. We're going to get those once they are boiled up and softened down. So we're covering them, boil them, and then simmer for 5 minutes. So we're boiling them and then simmering for 5 minutes, which is what we've got going with the potatoes there. They're softening off so we can make them into our beautiful pasta. And we've got both sorts. So we've got the new potatoes. So if you've got some new potatoes, we've got a can of new potatoes in there. And we've also got fresh potatoes in there as well. Now, the next thing we're going to do is we are going to get our flour ready. And we're going to be looking at how we make our pasta. We're going to talk a little bit about pasta. So we've got some pasta over here. Let's have a look at these different sorts of pasta that we have that you can use for yourself. So let's have a look at what we've got. We've got lots of different types of pasta, different shapes and styles of pasta that you could use. And there, let's have a look. Here we go. I've got lots here. I'm just going to bring around to you. There we go. So we've got lots of different types of pasta. So there are pasta tubes. You might have seen different types of pasta. So we've got pasta tubes. This is penne. We've got spaghetti pasta. Okay. Different types of pasta. Now you might find it long. Pasta's long and thin. You might find it in fancy shapes there. Different sorts of pasta, different shapes, all being stretched and molded, or sometimes what we call extruded into different shapes. Now, all the shell ones. Yes, you've got shell pastas. You might find it's all opening up some different sorts of pastas again here. This is let's open this one up so you can see this one. There we go. Tagliatelle. You can see lots of different shapes and sizes. Pasta comes in lots of different ones. But all pasta is made using flour. Okay, so all pasta is made using flour. And what we do with the flour is we get that flour wet. Now you can add other things to the flour, like we're doing today. We're going to be adding potato to this particular flour, but you can add lots of different things to it to make it wet and then change the color, change the flavor, as we're going to look at today, and then you can manage it. But whatever you're using you always need to start with the flour. Now, we talked about this before, but flour has got two things in it. That flour has got two proteins in it. Okay, so let me have a look at those. I'm going to put these two. This is real GCSE high level. So if you're aiming for GCSE, this is right up there. So we're going to touch a little bit on GCSE here. But there are two proteins. I'm going to give you the names. You don't need to remember them just now, but you will when you get to year 10. Glutenin and gliadin. Now these are proteins. They've got two names here. They're proteins. And we're going to combine those together. We'll just call those proteins in the flour. We're going to combine those two proteins together. Oh, that's my 5 minutes timer. So if you put your new potatoes, time to switch them off. Okay, and then we've got another 10 minutes if you were using fresh potatoes. Let me just switch those ones off and add another timer now for another 10 if you were doing fresh. Okay, back to me. So if you want to go back to that one, right. So like I was saying, there are proteins inside that flour. That flour here has got proteins inside it. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to make those proteins wet. So we're going to add moisture to them. So let's proteins, add moisture. And we're going to end up with this stretchy elastic stuff, which we've already said is called gluten. Gluten. Okay. Now gluten. It takes on those two properties of just leave the potatoes for the moment. We're just going to leave those ones. We'll get everybody caught up using the fresh potatoes. So if you've switched off those ones, just leave them in the pan for a minute, and we're going to come back to them. So don't worry about that. We're just waiting for those who are using fresh potatoes, and they've got another 10 minutes yet. But so while we're talking about that, I'm going to talk about how we make this stuff called pasta. Okay, how do we make different types of pasta? So we've got proteins in the flour, and what we're going to do is we're going to add liquid to that, and then we will have gluten. Now, both these proteins have different things. One of these proteins is very, very stretchy, what we call elastic. The other protein is very, very squidgy and moldable into different shapes. Here we go. We've got some squidgy and moldable slime there, which you can move into different shapes, and it goes back to the same shape. That is elastic. Okay, so we can mold it into different shapes. So we've got plastic and elastic, and the gluten, which is a combination of both those proteins, actually becomes elastic and plastic, which means we can stretch it into really long shapes, and we can roll it out into really long shapes, or we can mold it into really shapes. Some people said they like shells. Some people, they said they like the tubes, but you can mold it. And what you can do is you can actually push it through a tiny little shaped hole, and then it'll come out long lengths of different shapes, like the shells or like the tubes, and those different shapes. What we call that's extrusion. We do food through that. Now, a lot of the pasta you've got at home, this sort of stuff that you've got in your house, okay, that is just made with flour and water. So very simple stuff. Some of it is made with flour and egg as the moisture. So those sort of pastas you might find in the fridge section of a supermarket, and that's fresh egg pasta. We're making fresh egg pasta today, but we're going to add up to our fresh egg pasta, we're going to add potatoes to that one. Okay, and we are going to create the most amazing pasta. And we even try, so if you can get hold of different color ones, you can make different color pastas too, which is pretty amazing. Okay, so once those potatoes are done, what are we going to do? Well, let me go grab the tinned potatoes, which have just beat, so I can say, and yours is finished too. I'm going to go and grab those and bring them over here. I'm going to show you exactly what we're going to do with those ones together. So let me go and get my pan. Don't forget, the pan handles might be hot, so you might want to use one of these again. It might not be, depending on what sort of pans you're using. I'm going to go and grab that and bring that one over. I'm going to bring the new potatoes over first, because the fresh potatoes need another couple of minutes to go. So let's go and get those, and I'll bring it straight back over to you. Let's have a look there. Good. They're looking lovely. Very good. My new potatoes are definitely done. My fresh potatoes definitely need a little bit longer. Okay, so here are my new potatoes. Hopefully you can see those ones on the camera. Let me move the camera down so you can see. There we are, new potatoes, all softened up. Let me show you on the camera there. Can you see that one on the camera there? New potatoes. Right, let's show you what you're going to do with your new potatoes next. So we've got we've got a tin of new potatoes there. What we're going to do is we are going to be using, getting them out, and we're going to be squashing them and squeezing them, and we're going to get all of the moisture out of them. So this is where you're going to need a kitchen towel. You're going to need your slotted spoon, and you're going to need a bowl. Okay, so we're going to get a bowl here as well. And we're going to get them out, and we are going to be putting them, we're going to squish and squeeze it all together. Okay, so here we have the bowl ready to go, and we've got our saucepan. And what we're going to do now is we're going to safely get them, because this is hot. Don't forget, boiling water. Careful. You might need a grown-up to lend a hand here, because there is boiling water, and we are going to get those ones out. Okay, here we go. Oops, there we go. Gorgeous sound from there. There we go. Sorry, pup just wanted to pop out. So here we go. So I'm going to get my slotted spoon to safely raise the hot potatoes out. There we go. Take them out of the boiling water. They're really hot. You see steam coming off those. Fabulous. So they are softened. I'm going to put that hot saucepan to the side there, somewhere safe. Good. Now I've got my bowl of potatoes. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to try and get some of the moisture out. So I'm going to get some kitchen roll, and I'm going to very delicately, because don't forget they are going to be hot, we're just going to get them while they're in the bowl, and we're going to squeeze some of that moisture out. Okay, so as it says on here, lift the potatoes out of the water, allow to dry and cool. Don't throw away the water. No, keep that water. Don't throw away water. And then we are going to just squeeze those for dry. Now, they're going to be hot at the moment, so we'll leave them to cool down for a minute. I'm going to put lots of kitchen roll in there. In fact, let's put a bit more kitchen roll in there. We'll come back to those, and once they're cooled down, we'll start to mash those up. So I've now just got some kitchen roll underneath them. There we are. Can you see that? Kitchen roll in there with my potatoes. I'm going to leave those to cool down in a bowl now. And we're going to then squeeze them out, because they're going to be a bit hot for the moment. We don't want you to burn yourself. So that's my potatoes in there. That's my new potatoes. They've covered them with some kitchen roll, and I've put some kitchen roll underneath them to absorb the moisture. We're going to leave those to cool down for a minute, and we're going to come back to those very shortly. Okay, so once we've got those, let's leave them to cool down over there on the side. Once we've got those, we're going to do exactly the same with the fresh potatoes. Okay, so if you're using fresh potatoes instead, very similar sort of thing. So let me go back over. I'm going to get back over, grab the pan which you've got the fresh potatoes in, because they've now been in for, here we go, the timer's going. Time is just about to go. But they've been in for their 15 minutes now. I'm going to get those out. Same situation. I'm going to put some kitchen roll into the bottom of a bowl. Here we go. Kitchen roll, bowl, in it goes. And I'm going to be putting the potatoes into there, and I'm going to let them cool down. And also that kitchen roll is going to absorb the water in there. So we don't want too much moisture coming from the potatoes. Most of the moisture that's going to go into our gluten is going to come from the eggs, or the egg alternative there. Because the egg in itself has also got more protein. Okay, so the egg's got more protein in there as well. What is protein needed for? Right, over to you. Anyone know what protein is needed for? Anyone want to have a guess? So you can write it in the comments there. What do we need protein for? What's it good for our bodies? It can fill you up. Yep, it can make you feel fuller for longer. But what is it primary thing? Let's have a think about here. When you are, is it used to make muscles? Well, yes, it is. It helps with muscle, and it helps with. They're nearly there. Can it be used as a source of energy? Yes, it can be used as a source of energy. So there we go. We got it. Repair of cells. So it's mainly used for repair and maintenance of your body. So when you're doing lots of exercise, someone mentioned muscles. When you're doing lots of exercise, you'll be tearing your muscles. So you need to repair those muscles when you're doing that one. So to do that one, you'll repair and maintain your muscles. As with everything else in your body, your protein is great for that general repair and maintenance, continuous repair and maintenance of your body whenever you're doing your activities, whenever you're, just where you're living. You need repair and maintenance of your body all the time. So protein is really good for that. So this is a good dish for that. Now there's an interesting one there. What about healthy bones then? Now, healthy bones is down to calcium. So you get that a lot of that from the dairy products. You'll find there, but calcium keeps us healthy bones, strong bones, and you need a vitamin to go with that one for the absorption of calcium, and that is vitamin D. Yes, the body uses the amino acids from the protein to repair your body. Yes, because protein is building blocks of protein. What makes up protein is long chains of what we call amino acids. They're the building blocks that make up protein, and the protein helps build up you by repairing and maintaining your body. And while you're going through growth spurts at the moment, obviously you need protein to build up your body. Fabulous. Right, let's go and get those potatoes. Anyway, they're done now, so let me go grab those potatoes from the hob. Again, if you need, you might need a oven glove. There's my butter gone. Fabulous. So if you're cooking along with me and you've just done fresh potatoes, it's time to get your fresh potatoes. Alrighty. So the same way, so if you were using fresh potatoes, it's now time to get those fresh potatoes out. There is my fresh potato using my slotted spoon. In it goes. That's my normal fresh potato. And here is my funky purple potato that doesn't look very purple at the moment, but when we cut that open, that will be very purple. They are wrapped in kitchen roll in there, and they are also going to cool down, and we're going to use those ones very shortly. Okay, put your pans away somewhere because they've got boiling water in them. Put them somewhere safe. Do not throw away the water. We want to think about energy, and we're going to reuse things. So we need to think of the environment here. We're going to reuse this water later on. So don't throw away this water, okay? Keep that. If you have thrown away, don't worry. We can always use some more, but get some more. But otherwise, don't throw this one away. Okay, let's go put these ones in a safe place, and we'll carry on and make our pasta. So for pasta, we need to get our pasta ingredients. And the primary ingredient we're going to need for making the pasta is going to be the flour. So we're going to get some flour in here. Here is my flour. Now we can do this the proper Italian way and make this on the chopping board or on your work surface if you want, depending on what your work surface is like at home, obviously. I don't want you to be making an almighty mess on your kitchen. So you can do it in a bowl or you can do it in a work surface. But we're looking at 100 grams. Now, you might not have your kitchen scales at hand, so in which case I will show you how to do the 100 grams with spoons. Okay, so how much do we need for 100 grams? Well, I will measure it out with you. So if you haven't got scales, you can use spoonfuls here. And we're looking at heaped 2 tablespoons here. So 1, 2, 3, they are big heaped ones actually. You can do a little bit less than the next one, I think, to make my 100. 4. And there we have it. That is 100 grams of flour. Let me show you what that looks like. Perfect. So that it's like I've done this before. There we are. There is your 100 grams of flour ready to go. Now your 100 grams of flour you can put onto the work surface, make a well on the work surface, or you can do it in a bowl. What do we mean by making a well? You get your fingers and you're going to make a hole inside the middle of that ingredient. When you make a hole inside one ingredient for another ingredient to go into, we call that making a well. So you're making a well there. So we've made a well in the center of our bowl, or if you're doing this on the work surface, the proper Italian way, but I don't know how much space you've got at home and how much of a mess you're allowed to make at home. So you could do this on the work surface and put your 100 grams of flour on the work surface, make a well in the middle. What you will need to be very careful of is the next bit when we start to fill that well. Because if you're doing it on a work surface and you fill the well incorrectly, it may explode and go all over the work surface and make an almighty mess. I'm just going to keep it in a bowl for the minute. We do it on the school, we do it on the work surface because we've got nice open wide work surfaces that have been lovely, sanitized down, cleaned down, washed down, and it's able to do. If you haven't, then I would do it in a bowl. I'm a bit more restricted here at home to space because I've got all the ingredients and all the computers and lights here. So I'm a bit more restricted on space. So I'm not going to do that here for you. We're going to do it in a bowl. Right, we are then going, once we've got 100 grams of flour, we're now going to come back to our potato. So our potatoes now should have been cooled down. Certainly if you're using the tinned potatoes, they will have cooled down enough to be able to start to mash. So let's get my tinned potatoes first. We'll show you both, so in case you've got whichever variety you've got. Here's my tinned potatoes from earlier. They're cooled down now, so they're warm, but they're not, you can actually touch them now. So they're cooled down a bit now. They're covered with the kitchen roll. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pat them dry. So make sure there's no more, to reduce the amount of moisture that's on those ones now. Because we want the moisture to come from our egg, not from the water that's around our potatoes. So I'm just tapping those dry to make sure there's no more moisture around there. They're as dry as they possibly can. They are. There we are. There's still a bit of steam on them. I think that's because it's so cold outside. I have to have the door open to let the dog in and out. So I think that's why there's a bit more steam on there. But the potatoes now, and what we can do now is we can use a fork, or in fact you can use your hands if they're cold enough. But we're going to use the back of a fork to mash these down, or if you want to, you can use a potato masher. So I don't mind, use the back of a fork or a potato masher. Maybe you've got a potato ricer. But I know we're not in school, so you probably haven't got at school, we've got potato risers. We haven't got those here. So we can use a masher, or if you haven't got one of those, you can just use a fork. I mean, it works just as well. And you just mash those again. You can see those there. I'm just literally mashing them up. That's because we boiled them up. So they mash down quite well now. And I'm just going to mash them up with the back of the fork. Can you see that? I'm just literally pushing that into there to mash those potatoes up. I can do that one with a potato masher if I wanted to. There we go. I can do it with a potato masher if I wanted. And that works as well. Just mash in there. Look, there we go. You can mash that one with a potato masher. You can mash that one with a fork. We're just using alternative equipment that you might have at home. Say we're not in school, you're in lockdown, we're at homes, we're doing different things. We use what we've got close to hand, so you can all still cook some beautiful food for your folks. Now, potatoes, this is great. We are going to have quite a few of our 5 a day in here, I think. So this is good. We've got potatoes, and we've got tomatoes, and we've got peppers, and we've got onions, and we've got lots of fresh produce in this. Oh, how much? Oh, they only said it. How many fruit and veg should we be having a day? How many fruit and veg should we be having a day? Quick as you can. Who's going to be quickest? YouTube or school? Oh, there's a healthy person. Yeah, 7 would be fantastic. But the UK government guidelines are at the moment 5. That's right. There was talk a few years back of changing that and increasing it. But at the moment, we're on 5 as well. All right, bonus marks. This is a little bit more difficult then. Does anyone know how much that should be broken down into fruit or vegetable? What does the government say? Here we go. That's a difficult one. I mean, 5 a day is brilliant. If you can get 5 a day into your body anyway, which is great. It's all full of vitamins, lots of vitamins and minerals in there that you need to get to make your body work, what we call micronutrients. Yes, it should be 2, 3. Well done. Oh, straight up the ball. So what the government says is 2 for fruit, 3 for veg is ideal. But, if you can get 5 fruit and veg in your body a day, that is good. Now, you see what I've done there? It's all mashed up. That's my new potatoes, all mashed up, ready to go, if we are using new potatoes. If you're using the fresh potatoes, here is my fresh potatoes. Now, you may wish to, if you want to, remove the skins off these. You can do. You can do that. You can leave them on if you want. But I would probably suggest you want to remove the skins. You can see that it's actually starting to fall straight off because they're already pretty cooked already. But I can remove the skin. You can either use a potato peeler. I've got one of these longer ones. You might have a Y-shaped one. You'll probably find though it's just the skin's just going to fall off a little bit more with your, depending on how big your potatoes are off. They've been doing that. But my skin of my potatoes are actually coming off really, really easily now because I've boiled it in advance. It's still quite warm, so be careful with that. Don't burn yourself on the potato. We'll try and get. There we go. You see that on my potato there? My potatoes. Got the skin off that. Exactly the same as you did with the other one then. Potato masher, you can use that. Potato fuck and fork, you can use that. And we can just start squashing into that one. That's fine as well. Potato ricer, if you've got one of those, which creates almost like ricey shreds. Potato, that's good as well. All of those would be useful to make your mash. Now, I did say I'd show you this very amazing potato. I love these potatoes. They are so cool. If you've not eaten purple potatoes before, or different color potatoes, this is what I suppose some people call them heritage potatoes. It's a bit like carrots. You can get carrots in purple carrots, orange carrots. Yeah, obviously orange ones as you'd be more used to, but maybe you could have white carrots. You have, and just, you know, we want to mix it up a bit here. What do they say? Eat the rainbow. Not rainbow sweets, but rainbow fruit and veg. We want to get so much fruit and veg. And as someone said there, their parents work for a fruit and veg supplier, which is great. And they're getting their fruit and veg from local suppliers. But what I wanted to show you is while I'm chatting away here, I'm just peeling this one. And it's purple. It's a purple potato. How cool is that? Oh, what a beautiful color potato that is. You see what the color inside that now? That is absolutely wonderful. I think it's amazing. I get very excited by things like this, especially when it's food and it's cool. And there we are. That is that's a hot potato. It's a purple hot potato. What do you reckon to that? That's so cool. I like it. It's just me. It might just be me. I'm getting very excited about potatoes. That and vanilla. I get very excited about vanilla as well. But potatoes are really exciting as well. There we are. Look, it's a purple potato. It's like, how cool is that? Right. Stop getting amazed by potatoes. I must calm myself down. Right, let's move on. We should now have some mashed potatoes. It is funky, isn't it? Thank you. I'm glad I'm not the only one thinking that's amazing. Right, let's have a look. Let's have a look at putting this all together. So we've got our 100 grams of flour, as it says there. You can see a picture of it there. We've got our mashed potato. We are now going to combine mashed potato with it. Okay, so we're going to combine those two together into our bowl. So we're going to mash potato up. We're going to add the flour and the potato together. So whether you've used a large potato like I did, a couple of smaller ones, whether you used a whole tin of new potatoes, I don't mind. You will now have that potatoes mashed. Fabulous. We're going to get that mashed potato into the center of it. And look at this. It's all very sticky. Love this one. I'm going to put that one into the middle of it. Here we go. That is into the middle of it, and I have got, just use my hands, look at that. Yeah, mashed potato. Cool, that's great. Love it. Love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. I tell you what, cooking at home should be fun as well. We want to create a love of cooking. That's what we want to do. We want to create a love of cooking, and that sometimes means getting a little bit messy. Okay, so here we have, whether you've done it on the work surface or in the bowl, into the middle, into the well of my flour, I have my potato. You can see it in there. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to get potato in there. We're right down. We're over halfway now, which is great because we are exactly halfway through the lesson. Hey, it's almost like I timed it. So we're halfway through. The next thing we're going to do now is going to get the egg into there, or the egg alternative, depending on whether you're using it or not. We're going to get our egg into this. So let's just grab our egg. See what I'll do. I'm going to make this one the way you're probably doing it with the fresh potato or the tin white potatoes. The white potatoes there, and then I'm going to make some more pink ones with the purple potato later on, and I'll show you what those look like. I'll post some pictures of that. Right, here's my egg. I'm going to make a well in the middle again. Remember, that's a hole inside one ingredient to put another one into. So let me just make a hole inside my mashed potato. There it goes. Hopefully you can see that one in there. Let's see, I've made a little hole indentation. You might just be able to see that on the camera there, which I'm going to put my egg into. Here is my egg, or I could put my egg alternative. That is going to go slap bang into the middle of that. Fabulous. What does that look like? Let me show you on the camera here. Zoom in now. Fabulous. Can you see that on the camera there? Hopefully you can see that one. I'm going to move your camera down as well. So you should be able to see now that we have now got the egg in there. There we are. The egg in the center with the potato and the flour. That's all ready to go. Now what we're going to do now is we are going to get that all mashed up together. So the next stage is to, once you've created another well, broken the egg inside that, is to mix with a fork and knead to a dough. And then we're going to divide it into handfuls, okay? So we're going to just literally grab a fork. Where's my potato-y fork? There's my potato-y fork. And we are literally just going to mash all of that together. We're going to mix the egg, the flour, and the potato, all of that together. You see what I'm doing here? I am just mashing this all together. You might be doing this on the work surface, in which case you can start to bring it all together again with a fork, and then you can start getting your hands into this. We're going to get our hands in a moment, but I'm just going to mix all of that together. Can you see what I'm doing there? Kneading all of that at the same time. Oh, kneading. This is when we are getting the flour wet, and we are starting to, we've added moisture, and we're now starting to move that around and kneading that together. We're going to knead it together in a bit more in a minute, and that's going to combine those two proteins, gliadin and glutenin, plus the protein from the egg, and we're going to then make a very sticky gluten. Remember, gluten will become elastic and plastic, which means we can mold it into different shapes and stretch it. So there we go. That's nearly all combined. Use your dough, your pasta dough, to clean the bowl as much as possible, because that means, little life hack there, that means you're less washing up to do. So let's see if we can get all of that flour combined. Now, you might find that you've got a rather wet mix. Anyway, I'm just going to scoop those bits off. If your mix is quite wet, then feel free to add a little bit more flour, because I don't know how big your potatoes were, or how big your tin of potatoes. So just put a little bit of flour. Look, it's snowing here in my kitchen now. Just using a little bit of flour there. It's not really snowing. Not snowing here yet. There we go. We're just going to combine all of those ingredients together. There we go. I might have to see if we've got sledges and if it's going to be snowing. A little bit more flour in just to bring that together so that I can clean my bowl. There we go. I want to make sure we've got no dough sticking to the side of my bowl. I want it to be all clean. There we go. You see that now? It's just coming away from the bowl now. There's nothing sticking to the bowl now. If it does, I say just grab a little bit of flour just to sprinkle on the top so that it comes away from your bowl. If you're doing this on a work surface, you just want to do it so it comes away from the work surface. Stop sticking to the work surface. It's no longer sticking. We are nearly there. There we go. Good. That is my pasta dough. It's a little bit sticky, but we can put a little bit more flour on the work surface, because what I'm going to do now is I'm going to turn that dough out onto the work surface, and we're going to knead it on the work surface. So make sure you've got a nice clean work surface. Nothing on there. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some flour on the work surface. There we go. It's snowing. No, it's not. It's just flour. A little bit of flour on there. And then I'm going to turn my pasta dough, my gnocchi pasta dough, out onto it. Now, question here. How would you make just a standard pasta, maybe tagliatelle? How would you make, what I'm just doing here, by the way, I'm just rolling this in the flour now. How would I make a normal pasta, like a tagliatelle, maybe something like that? How would I make that? How would I make some lasagna sheets? How would I make this sort of pasta? This is literally just, if I wanted to make fresh egg pasta, I would just have one egg, 100 grams of flour. And I wouldn't need to put the potato in. It's just that we're making potatoes today. So we are going to be, we've got the potato in there. But normally it would just be one egg and 100 grams of flour. And you normally, if you're in Italy, if you're making this properly, what you would do is you'd be using the strongest flour possible. That's the one that's going to be able to create the most amount of gluten from. So the strongest flour possible, which would be what we call a 00 flour. It's really, really strong flour. Okay, it's going to be able to create a high amount of gluten there, very finely milled flour. You can actually get the 000, I've heard before, but 00 is normally that. Sometimes called pasta flour, and you can sometimes get it in the shops. You can, like I say, use a strong bread flour as well if you can get hold of that. And I know bread flour is harder to get hold of during lockdown as well. So what am I doing here? Well, what I'm doing is I'm combining those proteins together with the moisture, and I'm creating something that's sticky. Now, if you start to stick to the work surface or stick to your hands, a little bit more flour on there. And what I'm doing is I'm kneading it. I'm stretching it across and then pulling it back. Stretching in and pulling it back. And each time I'm doing this, it's getting more and more gluten worked in there, which means I can stretch and mold it into different shapes. Again, if it starts sticking to your hands, there we are. I'm doing it, stretching it across. Stretching and folding to make my pasta dough. Stretching and folding, stretching and folding, stretching and folding. Shouldn't really be sticking to my hands. You see there, it's not sticking to my hands. It's coming straight off. If it does, like I say, a little bit more flour on there. Sprinkle a little bit over the top like it's snowing, and just carry on stretching and folding, stretching and folding. Now, how long do you need to knead for? Well, you need to knead for about 10 minutes is a good idea when you're trying to create pasta. And what am I doing is I'm stretching it across by doing it like this. I'm using the palm of my hand and I'm using the heel of the palm of my hand and I'm pushing into it and then pushing back. So pushing in and then pulling back. Hello, those are watching on YouTube. Hello. We've got a few of you watching on YouTube, so well done to you. And we're just going to be stretching this across. Hello to you. If you want to do a shout out where you are watching this one, I will happily give you a shout out as well about where you are watching this one. So if you want to say where you are, we've got a few of you watching this morning on YouTube, so well done. Hello. Hello to Nathaniel. Hello to, we got there, DDXX. Swindon, you're watching this from Swindon. Hello to all of those who are watching in Swindon this morning, as well as all the girls who are watching live at Talkie Girls Grammar. This is amazing. Thank you very much. I have to try it and keep up. Yeah, there's loads of videos. If you want to, all of these videos are recorded. So straight after we finished at 11:15, these go straight onto YouTube so you can watch again live. Sorry, watch again, rather. And all the live shows that we've done. All my lockdown lessons, all my cooking lessons are on Fun Kitchen YouTube. So you can go back and have a look, whether you're in year 7 or year 11 or older or younger. You can always go back to all my lessons, which are all on there. Thank you. I'm very good. Thank you. Love watching the lessons. Thank you very much. It's very kind of you, Nathaniel. Very nice of you. Ness. Thank you, very kind of you. I'm in year 9. Well done, Karen Ness. And nice to see you. Where are you from today? Where are you watching us from today? Well, we need these. Let's find out where everybody's watching it. We did have a class watching from Brazil last week, which was fabulous. They were learning their English and cooking along at the same time from Brazil. We had one in East Africa as well, which is a class watching us there. Oh, in Swindon as well. You're all watching from Swindon. Big up to the Swindon Brigade over there. Great to have you watching us this morning. We had, what other schools did we have? We had schools in Loughborough and Leicester last week as well, cooking along with us. So it's great to have you all in Swindon. Great to have you watching us this morning. Okay, so we've now kneaded our dough. You're in year 9 as well. I'm from Warnford School in Highworth. So big up to Warnford School who are watching us. We're all together. Hey, fabulous. Well done to all the school watching together, all cooking along at the different schools there. We're very pleased to have you watching us here in Devon. Not a sunny Devon this morning, very cold Devon this morning, but no snow just yet here in Devon. It's great to have you cooking along and watching along from your different schools around the country this morning. All right, back to it. We have now made a pasta dough, a potato pasta dough. Let's come back to me. There we go. Back to me. And let's, oops, there we go. We can all see me. Right, back to me. So fabulous. Nice to have everybody watching this morning from different schools and cooking along with us all here in Devon. We've got our pasta dough here now. That's been kneaded for 10 minutes. Can anyone remind me, what have we made when we've needed it for 10 minutes? Oh, let's see who can be fastest. Can we get it from Talkie Girls Grammar School? Or can we get it from Warnford School in Highworth or in Swindon schools? What are we making? Yes. You're coming in quick. It was quick there from Talking Girls Grammar. It was gluten. We are making gluten. So we've made gluten from putting proteins together, the gluten and gliadin proteins, plus obviously the egg proteins that are there already. And we have made with moisture gluten. That's it. Pasta dough from gluten. Well done. Pasta dough is what we're making. So we made a beautiful pasta dough. Next, we are going to cook the pasta dough in readiness for going into our beautiful bake with loads of cheese on the top. It's going to be really good. Oh, Swindon is near Highworth. Okay, so great. It's the same place. Hey, great to have you there. Nice to have you all in and watching us this morning. It's excellent. Okay, so here we have our dough. And what we're going to do now, we're nearly through. So going through my step-by-step cards, which hopefully, if you're watching at Highworth, you've been managed to get the recipe card, hopefully through to you through social media. But otherwise, the recipe, ingredients, and equipment are below us. Obviously, girls, Talkie Girls Grammar, you've got the recipe card as well. We are here now. We need to now roll this into long slugs. We're going to make these into long sausages. We're going to cut them into smaller ones, and we are going to make these into our gnocchi. Now, we're going to need our fork, a clean fork as well, for later on to make the traditional gnocchi shapes for these. Now, what are gnocchi? What is a gnocchi? It's like a potato dumpling. Oh, it's very kind of you. I will have to get in contact with you, Nathaniel, on that point. So we're going to make some gnocchi. So gnocchis are potato dumplings, and they're teeny tiny, looking like slugs. So what you need to do now is I'm going to go back to my board. We're going to roll it out into a long sausage, and then we're going to cut it with a butter knife, just a rounded butter knife, not a sharp knife on this occasion, a rounded butter knife. We're going to cut it up into about thumb-sized slugs, and then we're going to use a fork to make the indentations, and we're going to cook them. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to return those to the boiling water. So the boiling water that we used earlier to cook our potatoes in, whether it's the new potatoes or the fresh potatoes, whether it was, say, the tin potatoes we used earlier, if you cooked in the tin potatoes that already had their water, whether you put boiling water in your fresh potatoes, and don't forget food provenance is all about getting foods that are seasonal to where we are now. You understand where the food comes from. So these root vegetables are seasonal at the moment, so you can get those. So they're fresh at the moment. They mean that we use less food miles. It's better for the environment when we're talking about food provenance. So this is all good stuff. So and whether you used a purpley potato like this one or you use the standard one. Do I have an Instagram account for all of this? I don't. I need to do it. I need to put all these onto an Instagram account. That's a very good point, Nathan. Who said that? Oh, sorry, Carness. We do. Carness. We do need to think about that one. Right, back to me. Okay, so onto the board here. Let's move the cameras down so you can see what we're doing, what we're all about down here. Let me move that one further so you can see. What we're doing now is we're going to roll this one out. So let's roll this one out into a long sausage. You see what we've done there. We're going to get lots of potato dumplings out of this. And like I said, what I'm going to do after I've made these ones, I'm going to make some with the purple potato. And I'm going to show you can make pink potato dumplings. And they are pretty cool as well. So I have to go now. That's fine. Don't need to worry about that. You can walk my goldfish. Love it. So if you all have to go, don't forget you can always watch back. It's all pre-recorded onto YouTube. And it's also pre-recorded for Teams as well. Fabulous. Now, I'm just rolling this one out as thin as I possibly can into my slugs shape. So you see what I'm doing? As I'm rolling it, I'm moving my hands further apart. And actually, we're getting a lovely, even, long sausage dumplings there. There we go. Just moving it so it's all the way across. So we've got a lovely, long sausage. Thank you very much. See you later, Nathaniel. There we go. So I'm going to be just moving that one long and thin. There we go. So we see we've got an even long there. Fantastic. It's another one subscribed there. Thank you for subscribing. So we've made this into a nice long sausage. And what we're going to do now, we're going to use our butter knife and we're going to cut them up into little dumplings. So I'm using about 2 fingers worth. And just going to go along and 2 fingers again. We want to try and make them as even possible because if we make them as even possible as we can, they're going to cook evenly, which will mean you're not going to have some that are overcooked and some that are undercooked. They're all going to be about the same amount. So that's what you want to try and do the same as well. So we're just going to make those into our nice potato gnocchi dumplings. And we just carry on doing that, carry on doing it until you've done the whole lot. So I've got my dumplings there. And we then need to mark our dumplings so they look like a traditional gnocchi dumpling. We'll use the fork to mark those ones off. There we go. We're just going to roll those ones out. This is great. So it looks like a massive long slug, and we're now going to then slice those ones up even more. Thank you, Slick Stuff, inspirational stuff. I'm glad you're enjoying the lesson. Our food show this morning, live from Devon, to simultaneously broadcast to Talkie Girls Grammar and to the rest of the world. Okay, we're going to do the same for the rest of the gnocchis. 2 fingers there, 2 fingers there. Fabulous. We love this. Love and potato gnocchi. These are going to taste delicious in our bake, which we're going to make up next. Okay, there we go. And final one. All right, so potato dumplings. Now, how are we going to make sure that these potato dumplings cook well and evenly, and how are we going to make them look like a traditional potato dumpling? Well, we're going to use a fork. And what I'm going to do now is these little potato dumplings that I've made, you see those little potato dumplings now? What we're going to do is we're going to get our fork and we're going to just make an indentation with our fork and then roll them back into my slug. So an indentation and this, and then roll them back up. So they will look a little bit like that. So that is my potato dumpling there. So I've made a little indentation, rolled it back up, and you can see the fork indentation there. I'm going to do that with all of them the same. So rolling it up tightly into my sausage, dumpling, and then a little indentation with my fork. There we go, into my dumpling, and so on. And we're just going to roll those ones up, make a little indentation, and in they go. And same for all of these. Do you need to do the indentation? No, it's just a traditional thing for your gnocchi to look like, but you don't need to. I'm going to do that for all of them, roll them back. You see that? So we've got them all starting to look a little bit more like a traditional potato gnocchi dumpling that you might find in the shops. And that's what we're trying to do today. Okay, so we've got our dumplings. Now, what we're going to do now is we're going to use that potato water, the boiling water we use with the potatoes. If you've thrown it away, don't worry. You can just get a pan of water, another pan of water if you want. And what we're going to do is we're going to put these dumplings in the boiling water. We're going to lower them in with that slotted spoon that we used earlier. Okay, so there we go. So we've got our potato dumplings all looking beautiful there on the work surface. And we're going to put those in using the slotted spoon into our boiling water. And when we put it into our boiling water, they're going to sink to the bottom. But when they are done, they are going to rise up to the top. And that's how we're going to know these dumplings are cooked. Okay, so we're going to put those into it. There we are. There's my dumplings done. I'm going to get my saucepan. Back to me. Let's get back to me. Okay. Oops. There we go. Back to me. Back to the recipe card. Okay, so we are at this stage here. We're going to get them rolled out. We've rolled them out. That's perfect. The next stage is to get them into the pan of boiling water. They will sink to start with, and then when they are done in the boiling water, they will rise to the top. When they rise to the top, we're going to use our slotted spoon to pick them out of there and put them on into our baking dish, ready to cook. And there's my baking dish ready to go. Okay, so we need to cook them first, and while they're cooking and they're boiling away, we're then going to get all the tomato and cheese and basil and spinach, if you've got all that, and we're going to carry on and put them into our beautiful bake. And if you've got mozzarella, I didn't get any mozzarella during lockdown, but I have got some cheddar cheese, some dairy cheddar cheese, which I'm going to put on there. Or like I say, if you are vegan, you might want to put in like a cheese alternative on top of there. That's fabulous too. Right, let me go and grab my saucepan with the water from earlier. I'm going to come straight back over and we're going to boil those ones up together. Here we go. Here we are. So here's my saucepan we used earlier when we cooked off the potatoes. Can you see that? I've still got my sausage spoon from earlier. I'm going to be putting all my dumplings straight into here now. So here goes dumplings into water. Here we go. So we're going to put all of our dumplings straight into the water. And then we're going to boil them up. They're all sunk to the bottom at the moment. They're all in the bottom of my pan. Let's put them all in there. There they go. They're all in my pan, ready to go. There we go. And then we're going to boil those up. All in. Last two. There we go. They're in my pan. There's there. Onto the hob. boiling water. Don't get hobs are hot. Let's get them onto the boiling water, and I'll come straight back once those are boiled up really well. So into the boiling pan. Perfect. Now, like I say, you're going to know when they're done because they will come up to the top. I'm going to come straight back to you. Don't worry, I'm coming straight back to you. Here we go. Okay, so gnocchi on the boil. Here we go. I'm back. Here we are. So gnocchi on the boil. So they are ready to go. They are using the same water that we did before. How are we going to know when they're done? They'll come to the top. They're going to take a few minutes. So while they're doing that, let's concentrate on the rest of the food that we are going to need to put inside our tomato bake with cheese. Obviously, tomato bake with cheese. So let's get these ones doing now. We need to get the tomato into our tomato bakes. Now, what are you going to need to go in here? Let's go through this one step by step. On the recipe, I'm going to clean my board down the side so we've got a nice clean working space to carry on with. We're going to need to chop up an onion, a pepper. We're going to be putting those into a pan with a little bit of garlic. We're going to stir those in with some tomato. Then we'll add the gnocchi on the top. Then we'll add the spinach. Then we'll put all of that from that large frying pan or saucepan that you've used into our bake, and then we're going to cook it. All right. So while that's cooking there, let's sort out some cutting up. You're going to need some peppers, onions, garlic. Okay, so we're going to mix all of those and a tin of chopped tomatoes. Now, if you haven't got chopped tomatoes, you can use passata or a tomato puree instead. So you can use a tomato, chopped tomatoes, which is what you're going to use. But you can use a tomato. You could, if you wanted to, and if you had at home, you could actually use some tomatoes. So we have actually got some tomatoes here. And if you go back to some of my previous videos, I've shown you how to skin and de-seed tomatoes so that you can actually use those in there as well. So there's a little one there on how to do that one, actually make your own tomato. But for the moment, let's sort out doing our chopping and our knife skills. So I'm going to start with an onion. Okay, so we're going to do an onion first. So I'm going to go down and just recap our chopping skills from before. So let's move my camera down so you can see what's going on there on the board. I'm going to just move that down so you can see. I'm going to chop an onion and chop the garlic while the gnocchi is cooking. Okay, so we can see on the board there, I've got my onion. We'll start with the onion. I'm going to use my knife. And what shape am I making with my fingers there? What shape is that? Who's going to be quickest? We've done this before on the other videos. I'm making an arch shape. And that is my bridge. Well done. You remembered your learning from before. I put my knife through the middle of my bridge and I cut it in half. Now, if you're feeling worried about using your fingers as a bridge, you can always use a fork as a bridge. You've got a fork there and you can put the fork in and cut through it. So you don't want to use your hands if you feel unsafe. You might want to get a grown-up if you're feeling unsafe. So I'm just going to cut right the way through like a bridge. Okay, can you see that there? So I'm cutting all the way through my onion. I'm going to put my onions flat on the board. So we've done this before, so I'm just going to recap this one quite quickly. If you want to look in more detail, we've got the videos on how to do this one in more detail. Now, next one. I'm going to do this. What's this? If that was a bridge, this is a... Oh, who's going to be quick off the mark there? Bridge and... Yes, that is a claw. That is not a claw. Put your thumb away. Well done, Cameroness. Yep, it is a claw. So we're going to put our thumbs. It's really important. Can you all do this? Put your thumb there, fingers over the top. So you've got no fingers and thumbs nearby. And we are then going to use a claw and we're going to slice the top off of the onion, just like that. You can now put your knife down. I'm going to put my knife down away from my chopping area. And I'm going to use my fingers now to keeping the onion flat on the board. The reason we want to keep our onion flat on the board is because we don't want to cry. The stuff that's going to make us cry is in the bottom of the onion there. It's in there. Put that one back if I can. Is in that piece just there. So we don't want that to keep flat on the board to remove the paper. Okay, back to cutting again. We always start, if things aren't long and thin already, we always start with the what's that? Quickly, who's going to be quickest? Is it YouTube or is it going to be Teams? That is a... Come on, Carness, you can do this one. It is a bridge. Ah, beaten Talkie Girls grammar. Well done. You did. It's a bridge. Okay. So now what we're going to do is we're going to cut down as many of those lines that you can see on there on the onion using a bridge. You can see those lines just there. But we're not going to go all the way to the end where it's going to make us cry. So we're just going to cut down as many of those. And again, if you were worried about making a bridge with your fingers, you can use a fork and cut down it that way. So I'm not going to go all the way to the end. I'm leaving this gap at the end where I'm not going down to, and I've done the bridge. Now, after a bridge, thumb in, fingers over, make a claw. And we slice the other way, like in a game of noughts and crosses. And this is what we use to make six-sided cuboids, otherwise known as what sort of cut? Six-sided cuboids. Sometimes you play a game with it, you shake them up, and you'd be making, what's a six-sided cuboid with dots all over it? It is a dice cut. So we've diced our onion. We're going to do the same with the other side, just to remind you what I just done there. So I take the top off. I've done the bridge. I'm now going to do my claw. Take the top off. Pull the paper down. There we go. Pull that paper, all that paper down. There it goes. Paper down. I'm now going to pull that paper off. I'm going to do a bridge, but I'm not going to go all the way to the bottom. I'm using a paring knife here, a sharp paring knife, which is the smaller of the knives. I'm not using a chef's or a cook knife, which would be the same sort of knife, but much larger. So that's a chef's or cook's knife. We're using a paring knife for our vegetables. We use for fruit and veg. So we've done the bridge one way. We're now going to do the claw. Remember to always put your thumb right back. I'm going to slice the other way for our claw. But I'm not going to go all the way to the bottom because I don't want to cry. That is my onion done. Big pile of onion, nice big pile of onion just there on my board. Next, I'm going to do my garlic. Same family. Just going to crush this. I only want a couple of cloves, so just crushing that down. Break that open. And you see the cloves inside there? We only want a couple of those. We're just going to break those open and get a couple of cloves. Okay, so we got a couple of cloves there. What are we going to do? We'll top and tail those cloves. Top, tail, top, tail with a tiny little claw. I'm going to remove all of that paper like we did for the onion. Don't worry, you're not going to cry with this one. I'm just going to remove all of that paper off the outside. Here it goes. Papery outside has gone. All of that removed. Going to do the same with the other one. Now we've topped and tailed it, we can get all the paper off that. Teeny tiny little cloves of garlic. I'm going to use 2. You can use 1 or 2, it's up to you. Depends how much you love your garlic. Okay, next one. We are going to do a tiny little bridge, tiny little bridge, and a tiny little claw. So a tiny little bridge. I'm going to cut a couple of slices there, and maybe 3. And then I'm going to do a tiny little claw. I'm going to chop the other way. Okay, we're just saying with the other one, tiny little bridge. And again, if you feel unsafe, use a fork instead of your hands. Then a tiny little fork with a tiny little claw. Fork, claw, there we go. We'll make it tiny, small. Okay, so we've now got garlic and onion. What's the other things? Now they're white. We're making Italian gnocchi. So if we're making Italian gnocchi, we need to work on our colours. I've got some red and green here. I tell you what, I'm going to use a bit of both, I think. So let me just show you how to do this one. The easiest way to do a pepper is if you, I'm going to use a green one. Yeah. Let's use a green one. I'm going to put my thumbs into the middle and I'm going to crush it into the middle, okay? So I'm just going to put my thumb in, he says, and crush it. You see that? I've just pushed it in and then I'm going to rip it apart. Okay, I'm going to get all my seeds, tap on the board, get all my seeds off. Don't need the seeds on there. I'm going to rip out all the pithy parts, which you don't need either. So let's rip out all of that pithy part. Let's get all the seeds out. So we're left with pepper there. I'm going to do the same with the other side. Get rid of all the white pithy bits. And we are nearly ready to go and sort out our gnocchi. Okay, Let's get all of those seeds out, give them a good tap, clear them off. Okay, oh, sorry, you can't see on the camera. There we go. So what I've done is I've just put my thumbs in, pushed the pepper up, pulled it apart, ripped out all the whitey bits. We don't need all those white pithy bits. Any seeds in there. Rip all of those out. Get all of those out. We don't need those. Put those in the compost bin for later on. There we are. Get all the seeds out. Give it a good tap so there's no more seeds in there. We don't need the seeds. Okay, so we've got our pepper there. And what we're going to do, bridge first of all. Always start with the bridge. I'm going to cut it in half. I'm going to keep going until we've got long and thin parts. Bridging. Bridging. You see we've got the nice long thin bits now. Let's do the other side. Let's bridge. There we go. All nice long and thin. Here we go. Same with the other side. Let's get another piece. Bridge to the long and thin. There we go. Long and thin peppers. Bridge. Bridge. Long and thin peppers. We'll keep doing this one. I love this one. I love a bit of pepper. Keep going. Bridge. 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 Okay, so we've got lots of bridges there, which have now made our peppers long and thin. We now need to go the other way with our peppers. So after a bridge, we do a claw. So we can just use a couple if we want to at the same time. We're going to do a claw, thumb right back, fingers over the top, and we're going to slice the other way and dice up our pepper. There we go. Let's do the same with the other one. Let's grab two more. Claw, 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 claw. In they go. Claw, 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 claw. Okay. Claw, 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 claw. Diced pepper. Final bits. Claw, 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 claw. And you can use red or green peppers. That's absolutely fine. You can use yellow peppers if you want. That's okay. Whatever peppers you can get hold of, but it does taste nice with pepper. And we are, say, we're doing a mixture of red, white, and green here. You can see we've got the green, and we've got the white, green, and white. We now need the reds. Red, red, white, and green. Perfect. Let's go and sort out our gnocchi. Back to me. Okay, so we're now at the stage where we can go and grab the gnocchi. I'm going to go and bring the gnocchi back over here, and we can show you what the gnocchi looks like now. Let me go and use that. If you're using a handheld, you might need to use an oven glove if it's too hot. Let's grab my oven. Let's grab that. Oh, perfect. If you need a grown-up, because this is boiling water, if you need a grown-up to lend a hand, you can do. Let me go and grab the serving spoon as well. I'm going to use a larger one, so I think I have lots of gnocchi today. Okay, so you can see what I've done there. The gnocchi have now all floated to the top, and that's what the gnocchi looks like. Can you see that there? That's the gnocchi all done. We've done the onions, the garlic. What we're going to do now is we're going to start to put all of this together. So if you look on the recipe cards now, we're nearly there. So we've got another, what have we got? Another 15, 20 minutes left. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're at the last few stages of the recipe here. And we have got the finely chopped onion, the pepper, and we're going to soften the pan with the garlic. So we're going to put the onion, the garlic, the pepper into a pan, a large pan or a frying pan. I'm going to use a frying pan. I'm going to put it all into a frying pan. We're going to cook it off. We're going to put in the tomatoes in there as well. And then once we've done the onion, the garlic, the pepper, and the tomato, our red, white, and green, into the pan, and they've been cooked off nicely, we will then add our gnocchi dumplings. There's our gnocchi dumplings. We're going to add our gnocchi dumplings to that one as well. And then we're going to simmer all that for about 5-10 minutes. Then we're going to put it into our baking tray, cover it with cheese, put it in the oven. Okay, so and basil as well, or spinach, depending on using basil or spinach, you can choose that one. Now look, something like this, red, white, and green, a beautiful gnocchi tomato bake. So let's go and sort out the frying, softening, then adding the gnocchi to it. And then we'll add the spinach and basil to it, and then the cheese on top. So time for me, I think, and you to come and go to the other side of my kitchen now. Can we use purple peppers? Oh, I like it. Whatever color peppers you have got, you can use. All right, so let's just go over to my kitchen here. I'm just going to move the camera around so you can see what we're doing here. Okay. Move that around so you can see where we are. Move that around to my kitchen. We're back to the kitchen there. Okay. Zoom in so you can see where we're up to and what we're doing over there. I'm just going to come and join you over there. You can see the tin of potatoes ready to go. Move the other camera over so you can see what we are doing over in the kitchen. Fabulous. Okay, so I'm now going to go to the kitchen, going over to the hob so you can see what I'm doing with everything. I'm going to take my, first thing I'm going to do is I've got my gnocchi, which I'm going to have back over here. And leave my gnocchi on the side here. I'm going to, I've got my gnocchi here in there. I'm going to use, now I can use a large pan for the next part, or I can use a large frying pan. So if you've got a large frying pan, I'd probably go with a large frying pan. If not, you can use a large pan for this. We're going to put everything in, all our tomato, our onion and our garlic into that together. Okay, so here we go. We're just going to move that around so you can see. Hopefully you can see there. Good. Let's bring all of this chopping board and all of that back over. Okay, so we're over here now. And I've got here my onion, garlic, pepper, and I've got my tomato as well. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to put into my, I'm going to use a frying pan. I'm using a non-stick frying pan, therefore I'm going to use a wooden spatula in there to move that around, or I can use a wooden spoon. If you're using a stainless steel one, you could use a metal one, but I'm going to be using a non-stick one, so I'm going to use a wooden one. I'll put my pan on there, and in with my pan, I'm going to put in the onion and garlic. Here we go. So onion, garlic and pepper all going into the frying pan there. In they go. We're going to put the heat on the pan. Pan heat on. So what I'm doing here is I'm softening up the onion, the garlic and the pepper so you can see what, let me just move that one up so you can see what I'm doing there. So I'm just going to softening off the onion, the garlic and the pepper before they go into our bakes. So that's there. My gnocchi is still here. Like I say, my gnocchi, all of the gnocchi is floated to the top. They're ready to go in there. These are softening. Do I need to put any oil in? No. If you wanted to put a little bit in, you might want to put a little bit of something like one of these ones, like a fry spray. Put a little bit of that in there if you wanted to. But you don't really need to. You're going to keep it stirring in the pan. You're going to make that soften in the pan. So I've got white, I've got green, I've got white in the gnocchi. Final colour for the Italian flag, that's the red one. So we're going to putting in here our red tomatoes. Here we have our tin of tomatoes. Let's get that one opened in readiness. And we can add that to our mixture before we put it all up and bake it. So I'm just going to put that one in there. Let's open this one up. Now you can, like I say, use passata. If you don't want to use tomatoes, you can use a passata, you can use a puree in this one. I don't mind. There we go. So my tomato is ready. It's sizzling away nicely on the pan. I've got onion, garlic, chopped peppers, all in there. They're sizzling off. Don't let them go brown. We're not letting them cooking them. We're just softening them, okay? So all we need to do with this one is keep them dancing in the pan. It's what's called sautéing. Literally to me, to keep moving, okay? So we keep moving, getting that onion and garlic moving away in the pan. We don't want them to brown. We're just going to get them softening up. It's smelling gorgeous there. We've got onion, we've got garlic, all softening away there beautifully at the moment. Wonderful. They are looking great. Have How do you know if they're done? Well, if you check for your onion and your garlic, yeah, especially your onion, it starts going on this like tracing paper, like translucent, and that's where you want to be, okay? So that's what we're trying to aim for here. So to go soft, so we've got the onion and garlic going soft in the pan. That is done. Next, we've got my tomato. Tomato's going into that pan. Tomato is in. That is now red, white, and green of the Italian flag. Let's stir that through. Beautiful. That's smelling delicious. Wonderful. Got onions, tomatoes, garlic in there, and the peppers. Red, white, and green in that pan. Large pan. Like I say, if you use a large pan, you can actually use a large pan, or you can use a large frying pan for this. They are on the side, they're ready to go. Now, next thing, fresh herbs. So you can either use, let me grab what we've got here. We've got a few different things we can use here. So I've got the basil, there's my basil plant. You've got some spinach there, I can put some spinach in. I'm going to put a bit of both actually. So I've got I'm going to put some spinach in here, more green in with the red. Bit of spinach in there, handful of spinach, throw that one in there. Let's put some fresh basil in. I love fresh basil, I really do. It's my most favourite herb. It tastes like licoricey, fruit pastel-y. Oh, it's beautiful. It's what you make pesto out of. So I'm just going to grab some of those leaves, I'm going to throw those in there as well, some basil in there. Let's put all of that in there as well. In it goes. We've got all of that, the sweetness from that. It's lovely. Beautiful, beautiful basil. Let's throw some more basil in there. You can put some dried herbs in there if you wanted to throw some dried herbs in there. Some Italian herbs, some Provençal French herbs would be lovely in there. Let's throw all that in there. Okay, beautiful. So let's stir those through. Wonderful. That's my bake done there. That's my gnocchi done there. Right, I'm going to turn everything off. I'm going to get my dish. Now, you might have a couple of dishes. So you might have a larger one if you're making a large, shallow one, or you can get a smaller one here, either. I'm going to get those ones into the dishes. And I'm going to mix in my gnocchi in a minute. Before I do that, I'm going to preheat my oven. I'm going to preheat my oven to 200 degrees gas mark. 220 degrees if you are non-fan assisted. Fan assisted 200 degrees. Gas mark 6 if you're on gas. I'm just preheating my oven there. On it goes. Next, I've got, going to get everything mixed together. So I'm now going to put my gnocchi, there's my gnocchi, in with my tomato and my garlic. In they go, in the gnocchi goes. All of it in there. I'm using my slotted spoon to mix that in. To lift them out, to put them in. There's all my gnocchi in there. If one of the gnocchis fall apart, don't worry about if your gnocchi's falling apart. They will still taste amazing. There we go, in it goes. All of my gnocchi just coming out and going in with my tomato, my basil, my peppers, my onion, my garlic. Just going to give that a quick stir through. Let me show you that on the camera there. What do we look like? We've got gnocchi. We've got, can you see that one? Let me have a look. Here we go. Hopefully you can see that one. We've got gnocchi, we've got garlic, we've got basil, we've got tomato, onion, all of that lovely stuff going on there in my kitchen there. You can see that one there, and we've got one down so you can see. There we go, that's what we should be up to. Right, we're going to get this one into a dish now, and we're going to get this one into the oven. So back over to me. We're going to come back over to my baking dish. And again, like I say, you can use you can fill a smaller one, a couple of small ones, or you can do a large one, whichever you prefer. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to go with a big one. Okay, I'm going to get that one in there. I'm going to start to put all of that into my baking tray now. So in it goes. line that across the top. Spread that out evenly. You want a nice even bake on this one. There we go. Let's get the rest of that out. The sauce, the onion, the garlic, the tomato. All of that in there. Okay. Spread around nicely. All that in there, into my bake. Final thing, cheese. If you've got mozzarella, works really nice. Tear a bit of mozzarella on there. Cheddar cheese. I'm going to grate a little bit of cheddar cheese straight onto this one. You can use a dairy alternative if you want to, like the one we showed you earlier on. Oh, that's looking and smelling absolutely gorgeous. Lots of cheese on the top there. Here we go. Lots and lots of cheese. And then, once we've got the cheese on top, we're going to then put that into the oven. And like I say, you can do a large, shallow one like I'm doing, or you can do little ones filled to the top. Lots of cheese on the top. I've done a shallow, big one, but you can do lots of deep, small ones if you want to. I'm going to get that one into the oven. Just need to get my oven gloves. If you're getting stuff in and out of the oven, it's always good to have someone to lend a hand. So you can have someone to then open the oven door and someone to help put it in for you. So I'm just going to get that into the oven. Okay, let's go over to the oven. Here we go, oven gloves. And we're going to get the oven gloves, going to get the food into the oven. The oven is preheated. We're going to get that one into there. Here we go. Food into the oven. And that's going to go on the top, preheated oven. And in that goes. And we're going to put that in there for 5 minutes. So I'm just going to put a timer on there for another 5 minutes there. There we go. Back to me. Okay, we're nearly done. Nearly done. Back to me. Let's move the cameras back round. Okay, here we go. The cameras are just coming round. We're nearly done, everybody. Nearly there. Last few minutes. Okay, just nearly done. Here we go. Back to me. Right, let's recap where we are in the last 5 minutes of the show, the lesson for you all, and talk about what we've done and where we're up to. So you now should be at the stage where you put all of this into there, transfer the whole lot to an oven-proof dish, and we're going to be putting the cheese on the top, the basil on the top, the spinach on the top, and we're now going to get those all into the oven. Remember, hot surfaces, so using oven gloves, and hopefully you've got somebody to give you a hand to put those ones into the oven with you. Okay, what have we learned? What have we been doing? Right, so you made a potato pasta. You made a potato pasta dumplings called gnocchi. You've got those cooked off. You put those in the boiling water. They rose up. We left them to rise up to the top of the pan, so you know they're done. They have been mixed with your tomato, your basil. They've been mixed with your peppers, your onions, your garlics. That all were softened off in the pan. It's sauteed in the pan before. They were all put into the baking tray, mixed up, put in the baking tray, cheese on the top, and then into the oven. And they'll be in there, as it says here, you're baking them off for about 5 minutes. But don't forget, everything's already cooked. We cooked off the gnocchi already. We cooked the potatoes first, then we made them into a gnocchi, which we then cooked again. And then we already sauteed off the onions, the garlic, the pepper, and we put those in the pan as well. And then we're just going to finish this off. We're putting this in the oven now. Just finish off, melt that cheese on the top before you are done. Okay. Any questions? Hello, Henry. Nice to have you, Henry Mondays there. Nice to see you on the YouTube. Lots of you on YouTube this morning. You can see the other lessons on YouTube as well. And you can also watch this back. And girls, Talk Girls Grammar. Any questions for us? Hopefully yours are getting into the oven. What do yours look like? If you're about to get them in the oven, you can feel free to put your cameras on to show me what yours look like if you want to. That is entirely up to yours. Can we put any more cheese on it? Yeah, you go with more cheese on it. I mean, I've got on the picture here, I put loads of mozzarella on and put that all over the top. So that's a great way of doing it. Yes, so Carnes, you can put lots of cheese on top. Let's have a look at some of these, how they're looking. I can't quite see there. I've got a blank screen. I think you look showing me the ceiling by the looks of things. Can't see anything on the screen there. But thank you for opening the camera there, but I can't actually see your food. Don't know what's going on there. Someone's trying to show me their food and oh, it's disappeared. Don't worry about that. Couldn't quite see that one. So that's where we're up to today. You have all made a basic potato. I'm going to put lots of mozzarella on. Good, you go with it. Lots of mozzarella on there as well. The good thing with the mozzarella, it looks really white against the green and the red. And again, those Italian colours. I don't know how to flip my camera. Oh, don't worry. Don't worry if you don't know how to flip your camera. There we go. Look, I can see it I can see in front of me now. Some pictures of some amazing bakes. Well done. Have you got grown up to help me put that in the oven for you? Hopefully you have. It's been a wonderful show today. We're going to say class today. Class, we are teaching. Lots of teaching. We've been talking to provenance, what food provenance is today. We've been talking about combining proteins to make gluten again today. We've been looking at your knife skills once more, your bridges and your claws. So lots of learning going on there, lots of recapping of your skills. Lots of practice of using the cooker and the hob today. So using both parts there proficiently and safely today. As I said before, if you want to watch these backs, you can do. All the videos are available for the Talkie Girls Grammar School. You can see those ones on the Teams. If you're watching these on YouTube, all these will be filed off with all the other free lockdown classes that you can watch again in your own time through YouTube as well. I'm just going to, I'll save a couple more minutes and this is going to ping and I can show you what the finished product will look like. It's going to be warm. So again, obviously you're going to need oven gloves to get them out and then you're going to be putting them onto something like a cooling rack so that you don't burn the surfaces when you put that on. So make sure you've got something good to put them onto. Right, most important thing then, I think we're nearly there. I'm going to go to the last slide of the day and you know what that last slide means. That last slide is one of the most important ones of the lot, but certainly for your parents it is. It is the washing up and cleaning up. And this is part of your life skills in the kitchen. It's all part of being safe in the kitchen and cleaning up and being hygienic in the kitchen. So washing up and cleaning up, we talk about this all the time. You need to be careful how you do this one. The first thing you're going to wash up is going to be your knives. So knives are sharp. So what you need to do when you're walking around the kitchen with a knife, you need to be only carrying one knife at a time. You need to point the blade to the floor. So the point to the floor, the blade to the back as you're walking along. And you're going to hold it like you're holding a soldier. Like you're holding it if you're a soldier. So you're walking along like that. Okay, then it's not likely to hurt anyone. Don't hold a knife like that. So if you hurt, you might trip or fall. You're going to really hurt yourself. So always carry it like that. Come to washing up. Can you not drop the knife into the washing up bowl? When you're washing up, obviously you need to use as much detergent as you can with lots of hot soapy water, as hot as you can possibly make it when you're cleaning it. Don't let the knife drop into the bowl. What you want to do is keep hold of the end of the knife and use a brush to brush it away. Don't be tempted to use a dishcloth because you'll hurt your hands when you're using a dishcloth. Also, don't worry about the buzzer. That's for mine. I'll get this one out in a minute. When you've washed it up, don't be tempted to use a tea towel to dry it. Leave it to drip dry at the back of your washing up area. Okay, so it's really important. Your knives are the first thing you do. You do not put it into the water, otherwise you'll hurt yourself getting it out. You do not use a dishcloth to clean it. Use a brush. Do not use a tea towel to dry it. Just let it drip dry at the back of your draining area or draining board. Okay, let me just see how this is doing. The buzzer's going, and I can hopefully show you what the finished product looks like. Oh, it's nearly done. I'm going to put 1 more minute on that. Okay, so that's the first bit of washing up. So the first bit of washing up is your knives. Make sure you're using knife safety when you're washing up. Or you could be using a dishwasher. Don't cheat using dishwasher. Use washing up. You do your washing up properly there when you've done that one. Then start washing up all the other things. We've got bowls, we've got knives, we've got forks, we've got potato mashers. All these things need washing up. So make sure you're washing up everything properly. All this dirt off there. Be careful not to stack up everything on your draining board though, because we don't want it to fall off. Okay, so make sure that you don't overstack your draining board, otherwise things can fall off and hurt you. So do get them all on there, but don't overstack. Everything else you can use a tea towel. Once you've washed up, you can use a tea towel to dry everything before you put it away. Thank you very much. Super lesson. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Really appreciate that. So make sure you have properly washed up everything. Now, when it comes to your work surfaces, if your work surface is anything like mine, you got a lot of flour on there. which is fine, but do not be tempted to put hot soapy water on your work surface. I'm going to say that again. Don't put hot soapy water onto your work surface. The first thing you need to do once you've cleaned down all your utensils and equipment is to scrape down as much flour and debris off your top, put it into a bowl, and then you can put that in a compost bin or whatever, but scrape it all down and then put your hot soapy water on your desk, worktop or work surface. If you put water straight onto your work surface, it's got flour on it, what are we going to have? What are we going to have? What sort of mess are we going to have? What sort of mess are we going to have? We are going to have a very glutinous, sticky mess all over your sides, and that's going to be a nightmare to clean off later on in the day. So scrape your work surface down, get all the debris, get all the flour off there first, then get your hot soapy water on your table and clean that work surface and clean it down afterwards that way. So make sure you get all the flour off there first. So hopefully you are now washing up nicely and impressing whoever the grown-up is that is lending a hand today as you do all that wonderful washing up and cleaning up now. It is important because you're going to be obviously either eating or cooking or working off preparing food from those work surfaces again. And we don't want any contamination. So do make sure you are cleaned down. And it's always important to clean down, even more so during these weird and crazy times that we keep everything clean and tidy. Fabulous. Shall I get it out? Shall I show you what it looks like? I'm going to do that. I'm going to get it out now and show you. Mine's done. Here we go. Oven gloves on. Thinking of health and safety here. I'm now going to get my bake out for you so you can see what this looks like. Let's get this one out. This is looking good. Okay. Here we go. I'm going to show the camera here. Let's move the camera down so you can see. This is my bake. This is my bake. This is the bake that we have been working on for the last 2 hours. Here we go. Can you see that? Can you see that on the camera there? Hopefully you can. Doesn't that look just delicious? You've got your red, you got your white, you got your green, you got your basil, you got your pepper on there. Oh, that's looking lovely, lovely, lovely. And this is what we're looking for now, a really delicious bake. Look, this is really hot at the moment, so make sure you've got something to put it on so you're not going to burn your work surface, like a cooling rack or something that you're going to put it on so you don't burn your work surface. But that is what you should be looking for. That is what we're aiming for today. A beautiful gnocchi tomato bake, everybody. And I have to say a huge thank you to all of you for joining us today. It's been brilliant, really great to have you all here. Thank you for joining us for our gnocchi and tomato bake and all of our learning. You've been stars, you've been wonderful. Look after yourselves, take care, and we will see you again very soon. And if you want to be cooking in the meantime, please go to the YouTube channel and have a look at some of our other wonderful lessons that we've done with other people. Be good, take care, stay safe. Please send me photos of what you've done. I'd love to see. Whether you're watching this on YouTube, go to the About Us and click on email the photographs. If you're watching us on from Talking Girls Grammar, please post as many photos as you can down the chat. We'd love to see what you've been cooking. You've been amazing. Grown-ups at home, you've been with stars too. Thank you for looking out and staying with us the whole time. Thank you very much for joining us. Have a lovely rest of your day. Take care. Look after yourself. Be safe. See you soon. Bye.